What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm here today to review Taylor Swift's Reputation. So it's finally out. We've done video reviews of each and every one of her albums leading up to Reputation. We've also ranked her albums. I've talked about some of the key songs, the songs she's already released on Reputation. But in this video, we're going to be talking all about Reputation. What I normally do, if this is the first kind of video review you've seen us do of these albums, her albums, is I kind of talk about the album in general, kind of talk about the pros, the cons, the messages, what I feel about the music, and then I kind of go song by song. Now, we're going to have this is kind of like a start of a series for us. This is the review. Tomorrow we're going to be ranking every song on this album. So I'm going to give a definitive rank of where I think each song lies. And then Sunday, I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to re-rank Taylor Swift's albums and include Reputation in those rankings. Again, we've already ranked the albums, but now it's time to add Reputation. So I feel that, over the next 3 days with these 3 videos, you're going to get a lot of my feelings towards Reputation, and they may change a little bit from day to day after I listen to it more and more, but hopefully throughout these 3 days you'll really understand how I feel about these songs, even if I don't completely cover it in any one individual video. So when this album first came out, at midnight last night, Rolling Stone put out a tweet that said, say goodbye to the old Taylor and say goodbye to the new Taylor. Like, both of them are dead. Here's the new Taylor. And I read that and I was like, oh man, this is going to be interesting. And let me tell you, right off the bat, this album is very good. I really like it. And we're going to talk, again, we're going to talk about the pros, the cons, the sounds, all kinds of stuff. This album obviously was written in a very different mindset of Taylor Swift than most albums. This album is really concentrated on 2 or 3 main things, all geared around perceiving of Reputation. Now, she wrote kind of a prologue in the album talking about Reputation and kind of just giving her thoughts about how, people in life, they show you what you see of people. That's what they want to show you. You don't necessarily know that person. Friends know people different than the way their lovers know each other, and vice versa. And you really need to know yourself for who you are. When you wake up and you look yourself in the mirror, who are you? And you want, as many people maybe to see that as you can. And I thought it was a really, really good read. I encourage you guys to read that little, paragraph that she wrote about it. And that's really where this album comes down. And at the end she says it's only Reputation. Like, all that matters is Reputation. And that's true. I mean, this album is really about how she's perceived. And she attacks. She goes all out. She goes after ex-boyfriends in Calvin Harris and Tom Hiddleston. She goes after Kanye West. She talks about her boyfriend, Joe Alwyn. So she goes through a lot of things in this album. And she talks about the media and people's perception of her and what's been going on with her. And really just how she's been living life the past couple of years. And so I think from a kind of geared perspective of where she was in a mindset of writing this, I think it's probably one of the strongest she's ever been. I think the songwriting, the lyrics of this album are probably the best lyrics she's ever written, period. Now, this album, spoilers, is not the best album she's ever made. I don't think it's even close, to be honest. But it's not that I don't like it. It's a very, very different kind of album. The first time you listen to it, it is going to take you a little while to get used to new Taylor Swift. And a good example of that is, songs like Look What You Made Me Do, and even Call It What You Want, or Gorgeous. They are different Taylor Swift. Look What You Made Me Do, when we first heard that, we're like, what is this? This is a whole new Taylor Swift. We heard that, right? But now, once you get to that part in the album, it's like, oh, I've heard this, 10, 15, 20 times. It seems older to you. Whereas when you first get hit with some of these songs like Endgame and I Did Something Bad and Getaway Car and stuff like that, you kind of have to brace yourself for that, like, this new sound. Taylor Swift is still in there. It's still about relationships. It's still about being very honest about her relationships and her love and what she feels from people coming off on her. It really feels the same. Lyrically, I think she just continues to get better and better each time she writes a new album. Some of the sounds really build off the more electronic vibes, the more beatboxings of 1989. There's still some songs here that maybe could fit in 1989 if done, in the right way, if organized in the right way. That's definitely possible, but this album as a whole is totally, totally different. Her voice is still there. I think her voice is incredibly strong all throughout this album. The lyrics are really good. She obviously tries with these beats and with the different kinds of sounds that she can create in the background, and I kind of, in a weird way, compare this a lot to her first album. Her first album, Taylor Swift, because in the first album, Taylor Swift, she was a country artist, and she kind of forced, some of the times, country sounds, the violin, the banjo. She forced them into her songs, where they would open up songs, they'd be very highly emphasized in songs, and it just, most of the time, felt forced. In Reputation, I feel like some of the beatboxing, some of the beats in the background, the electronic noises, definitely sometimes are too much. Definitely sometimes are unwarranted and not needed. And I'll go through, when we get to the individual songs, I will pick out, there's some songs where it works well, but there's also songs where like you just don't need it. And without going into each song, a song like New Year's Day, the last song of this album is just her voice. I mean, there's almost zero effects done on her voice, and it's just her. And it sounds beautiful. Like, you still know she's there. And that song, honestly, does feel like it could fit maybe in like a Red or Speak Now kind of vibe. So she's still there. I don't really think old Taylor is dead. And I also think when it comes to music, old dead people, dead parts of yourself can definitely come back in music if you just... Eventually that could happen. It depends on how you feel as you're writing these songs. So, do I think old Taylor is dead? No. A lot of this album is still the same her. She's still talking about heartbreak. She's still talking about relationships. She's still being very bold and going after people, which I really, really like in today's day and age of political correctness and being quiet and not speaking up and, keeping everything close to the chest. No. Say what you gotta say. She is one of the biggest female personalities on the entire planet, as well as one of the biggest musical acts on the planet. So I think when she does that, it does give, girls more power, and it does give you more confidence, and really anybody. Like, I feel proud of Taylor Swift that she's able to do this, and I definitely respect her, on top of just the absolute amazing talent she has, to really be able to go in a completely different way with this album. I mean, this is the first time she's done this. 1989 was definitely, I think, a test run for this, but then she really took 1989 and jumped it up a notch for this album. I really do like it. It's got some weak parts. I don't think it really starts getting good until the middle of the album, right around Look What You Made Me Do. I think the first 5-6 songs are kind of spotty, but they're good, and then, like I said, in a second we'll start to go through the songs. But I definitely think the second half is very strong. A little bit more experimental in the second half too, compared to the first half, where the first half the whole thing is kind of experimental and she's really trying different things out. But I think the second half is when the beats and the way she does her voice and overlaying her voice, and when you get to be able to mix the music along with the lyrics, I think that works the best in the second half of the album. So that's what I think of this album. I think it's an absolutely amazing album. I really do like this album a lot. I suggest you guys, if you're a Taylor Swift fan, you get it. And now we're about to go into the talking about each individual song. Here we go. Number 1 is Ready For, the first song on the album, and I really like this song. It's probably my favorite song on the album. When I first heard it, when it was a single released about a month ago, and then the music video for it is phenomenal. I think one of the best music videos she's ever done. That song is very good. It's very catchy. It's very fast-paced. I love the beat in the background. I love her voice in it. I love the message. This is a really good way to kick off the album, and both in the sense of this is really getting you introduced to a kind of gradual new Taylor Swift, because this is like, oh, I can see how this can actually be a 1989 song. You really can see that. But it is a little bit different, right? This isn't exactly what we've heard in 1989. So this is getting us ready, and it's also saying, ready for it. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the rest of the album? And to be honest, I don't know if a lot of us were going into it, because song number 2 is Endgame, and this is with Ed Sheeran and Future. Now, this is when the first time I listened to it, I wasn't exactly thrilled. I think this song has a lot of strong moments to it. I do like Taylor Swift's voice a lot. This song sounds like a song where she kind of just went into a room with these guys, and when it sounds like a song that you'd want to sing along with. It sounds like a song that I can hear it in the words, and just how they go up and high and low with their voices. I see this being kind of like a stadium song where you can say part of it and the crowd says the rest of it, they can sing along. It's a very sing-along kind of song, parts of the song, when she's saying basically part of the end game. So I really like that. When it gets into the actual rapping part and I do like the structure of the song. It's pretty easy structure to follow. It's Future, then it's Ed Sheeran, then it's Taylor Swift, the rapping parts. And then the intermediate parts is just Taylor Swift doing the verses. And I do like that. I will say I've never listened to Future. I'm not a fan of Future, and after listening to him on this, I'm still not a fan of Future. I don't like rap, just in general, I don't like rap. His part does absolutely nothing for me. I do actually would even lean towards it's bad. I don't like it. Ed Sheeran, I think, definitely holds his own. He's got a really nice voice. He always has. Everything has changed on Red. I mean, I'm glad that she brought him back, and he definitely fits. He holds his own in like the rapping kind of game, and I think Taylor Swift, honestly, she's the last part that does the rapping. I honestly think she beats both of them. I think she has the talent to do that, and I think just the way that literally her voice sounds, like the octave she uses, I do think her voice is more suited for the kind of rap that song was pushing for. I don't necessarily think Future's a bad rapper, not that I care, I really don't. But I think the song is more geared to the Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran kind of way of singing and rapping. And I think that's why they work so well on it. So I think they do a really good job. I don't think Future does. Song overall, I'd say, is okay. It's not a great song for me. It's not a bad song. I'll listen to it. I do enjoy it the second time. And like I said, it does have this catchy, like stadium-filling sound to it that I can see her using in when she actually starts to tour. I Did Something Bad is the third song, and this is when she starts to get more aggressive, right? So Endgame is really talking about kind of the where she sees the endgame of like a relationship being. I Did Something Bad is definitely going after celebrities. This is when she targets really the big four. She goes after Kanye West, she goes after Kim Kardashian, she goes after Calvin Harris and Tom Hiddleston. This is when she's talking about, you know, how she got close to somebody and she would tell one lie for every 3 lies he would tell her, and backstabbing, stuff like that, clearly going after Kanye West. She talks about burning all the witches, which is referencing Kim Kardashian with receipts, and she even says receipts in the lyrics. And this is a cool kind of comparison because we see in the Ready for a music video, burning all the witches. They're burning all the witches. We see that written in the graffiti at the very end of the video. And I actually said in that analysis, I don't think that'll be a song title. What I do think is I think it'll be a lyric in a song, and it is. So hashtag Alex is right. But overall, the song is definitely more aggressive. Like I said, it goes after those two. Goes after Calvin Harris for kind of taking credit for her writing one of his hit songs. We all know about that. And then also Tom Hiddleston being the playboy, being somebody that she flew all around the world with, right? She really racked up the travel miles when she was with him. So this is really going after them. And I do like the song overall. I think I like it again. Again, these middle songs, song 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'll go through the rest of them in a second, those songs originally caught me off guard, where I wasn't exactly blown away by them, and to be honest, I'm still not. I think one of the main weaknesses of this album, overall, is a little bit like 1989. None of these songs truly jump out. 1989 had Shake It Off for me. I really liked it. I also really like New Romantics, and I also like Clean a lot. So those songs do. There's not like no songs do. And in this album, some songs definitely jump out at me. Ready for It really, really jumps out at me. But for the most part, the quality of this album is very, very good, very, very high. But and you could tell she puts a lot of effort into all these songs, and she's really trying with these beats and the way she's trying to form the lyrics and all that stuff. But none of the songs truly jump out. I feel like that could be if she does the same thing again in the next album. I feel like that's when we maybe can see some elite songs. So this song overall isn't bad. The beat's okay. The beat's nothing special. This is the first song I think, again, is a little bit of an example where there's just a little bit too much effects on her voice. She's got a fantastic voice. She really does. She's gotten better in every single album. And I think she's at the top of her game, again, in Red and in 1989 with her voice. She doesn't need the extra sounds to her voice. And it doesn't harm most of these songs, including this song, does not harm her, but I feel like it's just not necessary. And to that, you know, it holds the song back a little. Don't Blame Me is the next song, and Don't Blame Me, again, it kind of has like a loud, in-your-face kind of message. It sounds a little bit, not like a gospel-y kind of thing, but it does have that kind of high-spirited, like in-your-face, like I said, sound to it. And again, this is more of a personal song about not blaming her for literally how she feels, right? Like she has a love, and she's had mistakes, and she's done some things, but how can you blame me when like I'm faced with this kind of stuff in my life? Right? Or when you truly love somebody, I think she says that too, when you truly love somebody, like, do you blame me? So I do like the message. This is a song that I think, on the base level, doesn't have anything special about it. I don't think her voice is that special in it. I don't think the beats or any of the effects are that special in it. But what I do think is special in it is the lyrics and the story she's telling and the message she's conveying, which, again, does pop up. I mentioned in the review for Call What You Want, I felt the same kind of thing with that. Lyrically, incredibly strong, probably the strongest lyrics on the album, but just nothing really else that makes it that amazing. I feel the same way with Don't Blame Me. Delicate is song number 5 and really goes and talks about her boyfriend, again, Joe Alwyn, and this song really talks about their love for each other, and a lot of this album, just in general, I find it, interesting, and I find it a little worrisome because, she talks about him a lot. And it's apparent that she cares about him a lot, and that she's put a lot of trust in him, and he really was there for her in a down time of her life, and she talks about that in this song and other songs, and how she, he really means a lot to her. And I think that's very cool. This is probably the most, credit or respectability she's ever given somebody on an album like this. But at the same time, if they were to ever break up in the future, what does it really do to the messages of Reputation? That's just something to keep in your mind, and that's something that I was kind of thinking of too, that it would really suck if something happened. They seem like a great couple. She really does seem to like him. From her lyrics, it makes it seem like he's just this gentle, nice guy who cares only about her, not any of the baggage, not any of the rumors or reputation she carries, which is what this song says, like, her reputation is so bad, so you must like me for me. And that's really where this song goes, and that's where a couple of these songs go, where I think in her mind, he really cares about her, and he really has helped her get through some difficult times in her life. And for that, I feel like she kind of almost like owes him. Like, she really likes him. She talks about in one of the songs that she'd like even beg on her knees if he were to go, like to stay. So she really likes him, and that is pretty cool, and that's pretty special. We haven't really heard anything of Taylor Swift like that before. She's normally not dating anyone when albums are coming out. It's normally just about talking about ex-relationships, which again happen on this album. But this album, a lot of the songs, 7, 8 songs, are really talking about just him and their relationship, and I find that really cool. The song in all isn't that special, but again, the lyrics and the message I do definitely like. Again, a little bit of a use of effects on her voice, again, unnecessary. 6 is Look What You Made Me Do. Not a lot to say about the song. I've reviewed it twice, the music video and the actual song. I like it more and more each time. I think on its own, when we hear it, we think, man, this is a different kind of Taylor Swift, but now I feel like it's definitely a nice mix of what we kind of have recognized from her, along with a lot of the electronic sounds that after you listen to this album you're very familiar with. I think this actually blends it in very good, where they don't overchange her voice that much with just voice effects. They don't put her on top of herself that much. They don't mess with her voice in any kind of weird way that they do try in a couple of songs. I think her voice, it stands alone. The message is really good. This is a very bold, a very brave Taylor Swift. This song definitely is one of my favorites on the album, which I didn't necessarily know if that was going to be the case once the album came out. So It Goes is the next song, and So It Goes is really good. It's weird because I like this song a lot. There's just not a lot to say about it. I think the way it starts is almost perfect. There's almost nothing going on in the background for the first 30, 40, 50 seconds of the song. It's just her voice. It's just her singing. And I really, really like that. And even when she says, so it goes, even when it has the voice effects, I think this is a song done right. I don't think they go overly aggressive with it. And I think overall, it doesn't mess with me, at least. And I really enjoy the song, again, talking about her boyfriend. So, I mean, again, this is another song, kind of Delicate and So It Goes, both talking about Joe Alwyn right after right in between, Look What You Made Me Do. So I think overall this is a very good song. There's just not a lot to say about it, and in a way that's good, and in a way it's actually not so good. But voice effects, very solid. Really like the beginning. The whole song is very, very solid. The lyrics are very, very solid. This is a good song. Gorgeous is next, and Gorgeous I like more and more every time I hear it. I think this is one of, if not the best song on the album. I think Ready For It's better, but Gorgeous, really, really good. It doesn't have a lot of effects on her voice at all. It's a very stripped down kind of thing, and after watching the AT&T video of her kind of designing the song and really writing it, which I absolutely love, and I wish more people and more artists would do that. I wish she would do it more. After listening to that and just her voice singing that, very acoustic, you know, she's playing the piano, she's playing the guitar, and she's just singing it. I want that. And Gorgeous, after hearing that, does sound like that. It is a pretty stripped down song with not a lot of extra flavors to it, and I do really enjoy that. I think it actually could have been stripped down even more and maybe made better for it. But I think what we have is a very highly polished version of an incredibly well-written song and a really good voice by her. Getaway Car is next, and Getaway Car is a very, very different kind of song, and a song that I really, really enjoy that she made. It's faster paced, it's full of energy. I really like it after Gorgeous. It actually makes it two kind of ends of the spectrum, because Gorgeous isn't the slowest song in the world, and Getaway Car isn't the fastest. It's not as fast as Ready For It, but they both kind of play off each other very, very well. Getaway Car is really kind of like a heist story, talking about her in a relationship with a person, how they met in a getaway car, and how nothing good can ever come of that, and how they really didn't have enough time to do anything with each other, and they talk about, and she even talks about, I mean, they make it the analogy, she makes the analogy of like, of actually pulling off heists, and how she, gave the person up to kind of save herself, because traitors never win. And I really like that. She makes the lyric and she says when she wanted to be the first to leave, which could be a reference to Tom Hiddleston, who rumor has it she left him before he was going to leave her. Could be about Tom in general in this song, but even if it's not, even if it's just talking just in general about just a fun little story she made, it's very high energy, it's very like electrifying, not in like the way the beats are anyway, but this is a really nice song to come right after Gorgeous. King of My Heart is next up, and I do like this song a lot. I think this song had, really when you listen to this song has potential to probably be the best song on the album. It really does. It's got a lot of what makes the best songs in this album good, and even the weaker songs, the positive parts of the weaker songs, will make them good. That's what this song has. It has a really nice story, basically, of Taylor Swift being like, I'm okay being alone, I'm okay not being constrained by anybody, I'm okay not having a relationship, but then this person comes into her life, and he kind of like, he doesn't push himself in, but he basically becomes the king of her heart, and she really, really likes him, and she talks about how he becomes the king of her apartment, and how he comes over, and how they spend a lot of time together, and so it's lyrically and story-wise, it's incredibly, incredibly strong. Clearly talking again about her boyfriend. The effects they use on her voice, for the most part, are done fine. In fact, they actually work really, really well to make a kind of just generally pleasant to listen to sound for most of the song. Just towards the end, the second half really, when it's almost entirely voice mechanics, just voice effects, doing parts of the singing, I don't have a problem with it, because I think the way her voice is, the way she actually makes herself sound in the song, I think that works really well with the voice effects that they added on. I think that works well. The problem I have with this song is I can see this song being a song that people go to and identify as, well, all she does is have voice effects over her, she's not even a good singer. People already think people lip sync when they don't, and stuff like that, and we all know, Taylor Swift fans know, she's got a great voice. She's got a really amazing voice, and she shows it actually half the time in this song. I'm just afraid that you can identify this song being like, well, look, she's not even barely singing. Like, a lot of it's just effect on top of effect on top of effect. And it works for the song, and it makes really enjoyable, pleasant to listen to sound, but overall, I don't necessarily think it's necessary. Especially the second half when they really push it more. Just go with her voice. She's got an amazing voice. That's the only negative I'd have to the song. Overall, it's a very, very good song. Dancing with Our Hands Tied is next, and this is a good song. This is definitely a song, when I first listened to it the first time, I really, really enjoyed. And again, very strong story. She's talking about when she meets Joe, and when she's 25 years old, she's got her hair bleached, you know, she doesn't really know a lot about him, he kind of catches her off guard. She's very worried about the relationship because she kind of knows what's going to end up happening, and how outside people talking are going to either damage it and just damage it alone, which she's not going to like, or damage it to the point of where they're going to break up. And I really do like that in the song Dancing with Our Hands Tied, just that word. And I really like, by the way, when she says Dancing with Our Hands Tied. It's very catchy, it's very, very upbeat, and I definitely like that. But it sends a strong message, like, just in the phrase. And she references dancing quite a lot, by the way. Firstly in the song, the title, Dancing, but she mentions it, I think, 3 times the word dancing in the song. Not the first time she's done that. Holy Ground, obviously she talks about dancing, as well as New Romantic. So she's mentioned dancing before in her songs. I really I actually like the way she says the word dancing. It's just weird, but I definitely do like that. But this song, you know, I do like its message. Like, they're dancing and they're having fun and they're enjoying what they have in each other because they really like each other. And you know, even though it was a downtime for Taylor Swift and she didn't know how it was going to work, but they're having fun even though, in a way, their hands are tied. Like, they really can't do that much because you don't want it to be, again, it's very secretive, obviously, their relationship. They don't want people really even to know. And the more, you know, the more tabloids, the more paparazzi that hear about it and publish stuff, the more it can damage the relationship. And that's really what this song is all about. Incredibly good message, really deep lyrics, even though at a base level it's not that hard to understand. I really, really like this song. I really like how smart she was in terms of writing the song. This is definitely one of the best examples of the sound of the song being good, as well as her voice, and lyrically, very, very strong song. And Dress is song 12, and Dress doesn't really do anything for me personally. I think it's a little bit of a weaker point coming in after a lot of these really good songs, really from Look What You Made Me Do on, Look What Made Me Do, Gorgeous, Getaway Car. We have a lot of really good songs. And then you get Dress, which is it goes a little bit slower, and even some of the slower songs do have those moments where they pick up. Half the song is maybe slow, but then the actual chorus part has a faster beat to it. In this song, you know, again, it sounds a little bit like I Don't Want to Live Forever. This song definitely sounds like I Don't Want to Live Forever in terms of her voice. Again, talking about Joe Alwyn, and again, it doesn't do much to me. Nothing in the song is that special overall, and it's not a bad song. I don't think it's a bad song at all. I think overall, none of these songs are bad in the first place, by the way, but this song just doesn't do a lot for me, but we're about to get to some songs that definitely do. This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things is next up at 13, and this is a good song too. This is a very experimental kind of beatboxing, but she does a lot of different effects, a lot of different noises in the background. She stretches her voice out in some parts. She has a really nice way of how she delivers the words, this is why we can't have nice things. When she does that, and when she puts those words in that order and then she continues, I really like how she does that. This is a very catchy, a very fun, a very high energetic, a very bold song, because again she's going after Kanye, that's talking about him, mentions how like he's lost more than one friend recently, so she goes after him. And just overall, the song is a fun kind of song. Even the placement of how she's saying the song about how they're having like a party and they're having a lot of fun I don't know why, but it actually points a portrait of 22's music video at the very end when she's having her party. That's what it reminds me of, just the actual, what I envision that kind of opening verse sounding like or looking like. That's what I see, and when I think about that, like I like that, because I really like the 22 music video and I like that song a lot. It doesn't have anything to do with 22, it doesn't sound like 22. It's a very different song sounding wise. She does a lot of different things in this song. I really liked it the first time. I would say it's probably better than Dancing with Our Hands Tied. Now I'd say it's the other way around, so I think it slipped just a little, but I definitely enjoy this song. Call It What You Want is number 14, and again, you know, I did the review on it. We're not going to talk too much about it. I think the more I listen to it, the more I really do like it. Her voice is perfect in it. They don't really make her do much. She doesn't, I mean, she's the one who made it. She doesn't make her voice do much. She doesn't have to kind of stretch her voice, she doesn't have to change octaves, none of that stuff. But her voice is just very solid. It's there, it does its job, it's perfect. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. It's really, really good. So in terms of that, I have zero problem with it. Lyrically, very, very strong. You can watch my video as to why it's very strong. This is one of the best lyrical songs she's ever written, and I really do enjoy that. The beat, there's nothing special about it, and when I made the video talking about that beat, I'll mention this real fast, when I was talking about the beat in the other video, and I said how it's nothing special, and I kind of don't like that. When you get to that part, and again, this is the second to last song of the album, when you get to this part, you don't really need this fancy up-tempo beat. Honestly, you've kind of had enough of it. We've seen the experimentation of what Taylor Swift's trying to do. And again, sometimes it's forced. Sometimes it's unnecessary. But overall, it's pretty darn solid, and it's definitely a building block for her to go to. So when you get to these last two songs, we're going to get to the last song in a second, you don't really need that. You can kind of just enjoy the stripped down nature. Gorgeous may have been a little interesting to put towards the very end, so you have 3 of the songs in a row. But I do like Gorgeous's placement, kind of just slow it down, give us a little taste of her voice, how really good it is, and go from there. So I do respect that, the placement of that song. But call it what you want, definitely a really good song, one of the better songs on this album. And New Year's Day is the final song on the album, and again, I really do like this song. This is the song that premiered on Scandal last night, right before the album released. This is a really good song. Almost, again, no effects done on her voice, it's just her voice. I like the disjointed piano, where it's not really like full notes playing, especially towards the end of the cycle of the actual, what she's, like the progressive chords that she's playing. It doesn't really like end. She kind of like lets it just kind of trail off and fall off. I do like that, and I like towards the end of the song how she has herself singing over herself when she's saying New Year's Day. I really, really like that, because it's one of the very few times that when she has 2 of herself singing, neither one of them have any effects done on her voice. She's just singing at a different tone. And I really do like that overall. I think this song is a perfect way to end the album. It's one of the better ending. I mean, it fits. All of her albums always end really, really well. You can go back to Fearless for Change. You can do Long Live. You can do Begin Again. You can do Clean, or even if you want to go New Romantics. And then you have this. This carries the tradition where the last song is very, very good. Clean is a little bit different than all the songs on 1989. It's a little bit of a different way of ending the album, and you get the same thing here. New Year's Day is not the same kind of song as any other ones. I think New Year's Day could be kind of transitioned into those other albums and been okay. You wouldn't really have noticed that it could be that changeable. So I do really, really like how she ended it. I think this is a song that proves that she's still, you know, the old Taylor is still really kind of there, and she's just kind of waited till the end to give that kind of song. So I really like the song. Album overall, fantastic album. There you have it. There's my review of Taylor Swift's Reputation. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the album, if you've made it this far, you've made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. Again, tomorrow we're going to be ranking all the songs. Sunday, I'm going to be re-ranking the albums and putting Reputation in there. So I really appreciate you guys watching. We're going to have more Taylor Swift content even after this weekend is over, and I will see you guys there.